So, good afternoon. Welcome back to another live show. And this afternoon, I'm going to talk about the match preview between Newcastle and West Ham United at St James's Park tomorrow, kick-off 2 o'clock. And I've got my guest who's a Hammers fan, and it's James. Good afternoon, Jay.
How you doing, John? All good here, mate. All good. The season is finally upon us. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Fantastic stuff. And thanks so much for coming on my show. And if you guys like the video, you know the crack, please smash the like button and also hit the subscribe button, and also leave your comments in the live sections down below if you got any questions for James. So yeah, so it's all good, and I thought I'd get you on there as well. And I'm promising me thing. There you go. Right, so James, how long have you been a West Ham fan for, and where was your first game, or our first game, if you can remember?
Well, I've been a West Ham fan all my life, mate. I've been born and bred into it, sadly. I mean, I wish I would have been another fan, but obviously when you're born into something, it's a bit hard. But my first game was when I was 10 years old. I went and see Alvin Martin, his testimonial at, I think it's 1996. And basically, I fell in love with the club from then. But I've always been a West Ham fan. But just back in the 90s, I was from a poor family, so we couldn't really afford to go to the game. So yeah, it was one of them ones, really. But yeah, ever since then, I've been a long time sufferer, mate, of the boys in claret and blue.
Nice one. Yeah, I mean, always like West Ham's a footballing team, and they play some cracking football under Billy Barnes, or his manager, and he has some cracking managers there, sort of thing. He hadn't had very many as well, sort of thing, since the 19th century, sort of thing. And for me, I mean, when he won the FA Cup in 1975 and 1980 as well, and that's when Billy Barnes lifted the trophy. And yeah, he has some great names there. Can you imagine having those names back at West Ham now?
Cool, mate. I'll be happy to sign a player rather than having them players. Yes, we've got a lot of good youngsters coming through. Obviously, Declan's come through with us, and we've got another young lad called Connor Coventry, plays for Republic of Ireland. So the academy's still there, but sometimes you can't keep relying on your academy. You need proven players to come in and do a job straight away. But I would love to have some of them old players, mate. I really would.
Good for you. And like I said, sort of thing, I mean, you got some young players coming through. You got a good manager then, Davy Moyes. And the fact is, like Declan Rice just mentioned as well, how long can you hold on to him?
Good question, mate. I think we're keeping this year. I think this year, I don't think he goes nowhere this year. I think if he don't leave next year, he leaves the year after. The club is not very ambitious at the minute, mate. Well, I know we got in the Europa League last year, but I'll be honest, we got in the Europa League because the league was poor. And there was a lot of teams that weren't as good as they usually are. Do you know what I mean? And the lack of ambition, mate, if I'm honest, Declan could be sitting there in a year, 18 months' time thinking, why am I here if the club's not going to spend any money? And you know what it's like, and you can relate to it with your owners as much as I can with mine.
Yeah.
That when the team's not investing, you go backwards. And I know people will say, well, you got Europa League last year. Yeah, that's all great. But we should be competing in the top 10. Like year in, year out. And this year will really prove to me where West Ham really are.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, brilliant season last season. Now got to step up as well by improving our players all the time. I've seen clubs finish up high as they can, and they think, wow, we're going to improve it now. And they don't. Look at Sheffield United, for example. Yeah, I mean, they finished, 7th, 8th, 9th last season. Before that, they've been improved on the wrong areas, and they got relegated for it as well. So, I mean, on Declan Rice, I think he's been talking to a lot of people who plays in the England squad, and they must be thinking, what's it like to play for big clubs and all that stuff? He's going to be thinking, hang on a minute, you're right. I mean, he's going to think what's happened this season, and they don't improve. I think he'll be on his way. I mean, £100 million, between 80 million and £100 million being linked with Chelsea, Man United, and bigger clubs as well.
He's see, he's 24 years old, John, and when the way I look at it is whoever signs him and pays that money, they've got him for the next 10 years. Like, you see what I'm saying? It's worth it over a 10-year plan. The problem is with it, Declan won't ever push to move out. If that makes sense. He won't go on strike. He appreciates the club at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, what the club have done for him, he appreciates them back. But there comes a time where that man's going to want to win like trophies, and at the minute, and with this current board that we have, we ain't going to do that. I'll be stunned if we win a trophy under this ownership at present.
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with you because West Ham, I mean, are a decent club for me, and I have to agree. But are you going to win the trophy anytime soon? Probably not, if I'm quite honest. But if you do win the trophy, good on you, sort of thing. I mean, we haven't won a trophy, Jim, since 1969, which is a damn long time, which is what 52. Yeah, and under this current ownership on Ashley, I just don't think we're going to ever going to win a trophy until we get a takeover ASAP. Because if we don't get a takeover, if you see our club on social media, the club's falling to pieces. I mean, outside the stadium's absolutely pulling apart. Everything's pulling apart. Ashley's washed his hands off the club. Lee Charlie ain't doing sweet if they about it. And the club's just falling to pieces. And it's a shame for the football club, man.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Newcastle are a big club. Newcastle have always been a big club. I remember the days of like Aspria, Shearer, and like they've always been a team that's been up there. Do you know what I mean? And as time goes on, it's like a fallen giant, basically. Like teams start falling away. Like I look at Arsenal. Arsenal were a very, very good team 20 years ago, but now they're not. They're just not the same team anymore. And there's a lot of teams in there like who really are quite big teams, but don't really get the recognition because of the money. From an outside looking at Newcastle, I can totally agree with what you're saying in regards to your owners. When there's lack of investment, it does bear thin. The only difference with Newcastle and West Ham is the fact that Newcastle still have their ground and we're in a new one. And that is the only thing. Like, if someone would have said to me, roll back 6 years in May and say, right, you're going to go to Stratford, but you're not going to be any better than how we are now, then I'll give me Upton Park all day long. Do you know what I mean? I just feel that when it comes to ownership and investment, Ashley and GSB look at it the same. They value the money over the fans' expectations. Like, as West Ham fans, as I am, we're not in it for the trophies. We're in it for the love of the club, and that's exactly the same with Newcastle. Newcastle are a big size club, city club, and basically they should be competing in the top half of the table instead of fighting relegation.
Well said, well said. I mean, we should have had this takeover by now because the Premier League don't want us to have a takeover. They don't want Saudis having to take over from Newcastle because the Premier League or the top six clubs are controlling Richard Masters in the Premier League. They decide what goes on, and that's why this takeover hasn't come through. We've got the cat case coming up in a month's time, near the end of September. And if that goes through, if you win the cat case, then it may lead to a takeover because the Premier League and Newcastle United might want to talk to each other of out of court settlement. But I can't happen anytime soon. It's a shame because if Newcastle does get taken over, we're one of the richest clubs in the world. Yeah, but Richard Masters, Premier League, do not want us to be one of the big hitters, sort of, and upset the top six in the Premier League. And it is a shame because if we get a takeover, that club will be going places. There'll be money pouring into not just the Newcastle, into the city, the region. I mean, the country's going to be absolutely thriving. But Richard Masters, for me, is an absolute clown. Just do not want to know. He's not interested. Do you know what I mean? That's why it offers arbitration because he has got a bottle to pass the takeover.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, when you sort of disrupt that top six, you don't really get a mention. Like, I'd love West Ham to go and get an owner who cares about the club. I'm not like after like someone like a sheikh or anything, or someone who's going to come in and just like. Obviously, I'd love that, but realistically, I want someone who's got the best interests of the club. And the thing in regards of us, from my point of view, is that they claim to be fans, and they're not. Like, and that's what a lot of West Ham fans ain't happy about. Is that right? Don't say you're a fan, and because if you was a fan and you could see that you can't take us any further, you'd walk away and say, right, I'm going to sell this club to someone for a nice figure and let them progress them to the next level. And it's the same with Newcastle. I think Ashley knows now he can't take you any further, and there's people who are looking to invest in a club where you are the only club in the city, like, of stature. Do you know what I mean? So, it's when you get into that big six argument, like, it's very hard work. Do you know what I mean? It's very political.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But we had Man Ashley 14 seasons, 14 year, and on his ownership, 14 year, 2 relegations, about 3 or 4 near misses, right? 1 5th position, which you haven't improved on, and yeah, his record as an owner is absolutely shocking. I mean, when he first came to the club, right, he sat with fans in the stadium, right, lapping it up for a couple of games, and then when he crept on Kevin Keegan, then he didn't turn up for games. And sometimes he doesn't turn up to games. The Eva sort of thing, as an owner, he should be there at the club, but you just don't buy the club and don't turn up for games, yeah? But he wants his 300 million for the club. And if the Saudis walk away, my cash will never, ever, ever get to see 300 million ever again, because the club ain't worth 300 million pounds. It's worth about, what, 200, if that's, to be quite honest with you. But Ashley wants his money back. He will never, ever, ever sell the club for 200 million. He will want minimum 300 million to sell the club. Getting relegated, I'm afraid, ain't going to help him or us as well, because we want this guy out of the club. We just want hope. We just want hope.
Yeah, I agree, John. I agree. And then that's me looking from an outsider. Obviously, for me, from an outsider, I'd like to see new ownership come into our club, but I can totally relate into what you're saying. I want to see fresh, I want to see a new vision. I look at it like a new vision of, like, a new ideas of where to go. Like, do you know what I mean? And when you've got owners who are they're just not with it. Like, to me, they're just not with it. It ain't about the money. Like, it's about, like, let's put it this way: like, there's a new transfer window. There's a summer transfer window, and we start the season tomorrow, both clubs. And you look like you've signed Willock, and we've signed a goalkeeper on loan to the end of the season. And to me, even though there's been COVID and everything, there should be more than that. Like, there should be a bit more. Like you don't really start your season off like this in this way, but. It's just ironic that we've got 2 owners who are very similar in the way they dictate the running of their clubs.
Yeah, which ain't good, sort of thing. You know, you got to listen to the fans, and you got to spend the money, because the money you're spending is fans' money, not your money. Because money you take in should go towards the club as well, and get the players coming through. And also, you get money from the Premier League, over £100 million each season to stay in the Premier League. That money should be transferred on to the new players and keep our fans happy, sort of thing. And I've got Truls here. If we talk about the match preview, Truls there from Norway. He said, "Hi, John, hope you're good. Point is, Premier League have not given an answer to the fans, buyers, or owners, which I think is absolutely well out of order. And to a training facility, we would like a training ground that isn't full of kids, pools, and really bins." And I don't know if you've seen our training complex on social media at Newcastle, right? It is unbelievable. I don't know if you've seen it.
You haven't seen ours, John. Ours is like porter cabins and the, like, It's 2 clubs very similar in stature. Obviously, Newcastle are a more high profile. I wouldn't say. I think Newcastle and West Ham are very similar in, like, where they are in terms of the league. Like, I think Newcastle can be a big club and be up there in the top 10. I think they're 2 or 3 signings away. Like, they need a centre forward who's going to score multiple amounts of goals, and maybe a centre half who could partner with Lascelles. I like Lascelles as a player, but when I look at both clubs and, like, both sort of, when you sort of dig into it, both training grounds are very poor. Our training ground is horrendous, John. Like, I mean, I've seen better training grounds over a Sunday league, like, and that is no joke. Like, I've seen better facilities, and I think maybe, I ain't going to make no excuses up for it, but maybe it's because this is why we can't attract players to the club. They look at that and they think, why would I want to go there when I could go to Leicester for instance, where Leicester have got a very expensive training facility, very high tech, and then you look at ours. Like, I haven't seen Newcastle's training ground, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's very similar to ours, with like porter cabins and, like, do you know what I mean? And just like wheelie bins and plastic chairs and things like that. So yeah, nothing would surprise me. But yeah, again, mate, it all goes back to the ownership. If you don't invest in stuff, you ain't going to progress. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. I mean, you don't want to see ours as absolutely awful. It's like it's a 70s styles training ground sort of thing, you know what I mean? So basic, absolutely unbelievable. And you're right, you just picked up as well. That's why you kind of attract the players. So first thing you want to do is not just the stadium, and this is a manager as well. If you get a player from abroad, right, like an Italian, like come to Newcastle or West Ham, look at it, they're gonna have a look at the training facilities as well. They think, oh, a minute, is that the best you can offer? I'm sorry, son. I may as well stay at home. You got better facilities back at home. Do you know what I mean? And might actually not spend a penny on a new training complex. So Rafa Benitez made a point when he came through the door. He said, "Oh yeah, Mike, just get this training facilities up to scratch." Yeah, right. He's told them numerous of times, and actually said, "Okay, we'll do that." And up to this very day, he hasn't even done it.
Yeah. I agree, mate. I can't not agree with you on this one when it comes to the training facilities, because we're in the same boat, and our owners want something ridiculous to sell our club, 600 million or something, and they're trying to, and we don't even own our own ground, and as you say, our training facilities are horrendous. So I can totally relate to it. The problem is with it, you can show them the bright big stadiums like St James's Park, the London Stadium, for instance. But where you do your basic weekday work is at your training facility, and if your training facility is a dive, then no one's really going to want to go there every week, day in, day out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, again, totally agree. I mean, because the Premier League, you should have some cracking training facilities, and we ain't got that sort of thing. And if you look at the under 23s in Newcastle, it might as well just be ceased to exist, because we're just not bringing the players through. The long staff, so the last two has come through. That's Sean and Matty, and they're both not in the first team as well, which is absolutely a shame for that. Matty Longstaff, I mean, for midfield, he ain't the best player, greatest player in the world, but he does graft for 90 minutes all the time. And Sean Longstaff, I think he wants to wear. I think Everton's looking at him as well. And apart from that, we just got no one coming through the ranks, and we're near bottom of the table of the second division under 23s. It's just not worth even watching because they were not getting it.
Yeah, I totally agree, John. I totally agree, mate. I really do. It gets frustrating. It does. It just gets frustrating when I look at teams. Right, I use Leicester as an example because when I do look at Leicester, I look at a team that 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, in fact, that's fighting relegation. And then 6 years, a year later, they go and win the league. And then since then, they've progressed every single year. And they've got this model where they buy these players and they sell them for a hell of a lot of money. And they're not scared to lose their best players, but they've all like their system and like program of like recruitment. And I think if every club could have that sort of Leicester owner, they would like be so happy. Do you know what I mean? I just look at certain owners. You can just tell they don't care. It's just about the pound note to them. You know what I mean?
I totally agree, man. But it's all about facilities as well, and it's just appalling. So we're all talking about the match preview for yesterday's game, tomorrow's game at St James's Park. I mean, I've got my 11. I don't know what your 11 is going to be. I mean, who do you think's going to play for tomorrow? Remember, mind, Jesse Lingard's not playing tomorrow, but he's not there. So, and he's going to be for you guys. So,
I think goalkeeper. I think it's either going to be Fabianski or Areola. It's going to be one of them two. I honestly, John, I don't know. If I would like to see Areola. I like Areola. I thought he done very well at Fulham last year. I think he's a good signing for us. So yeah, I'd like to see Areola. I think Kafau will play, probably Diop, Dawson, and Cresswell as a flat back four. Souček and Rice as a two in midfield. And then our front four will probably be Bowen, Benrahma, Fornells, and Antonio. So yeah, no Lingard, sadly, but it's just one of them at the minute. Do you know what I mean? We're very paper thin at the minute, and that's our best 11, and even that's not exactly like Craig Dawson after last year's game we've used. Like, I don't. I think if St Maximan runs at him, then he's 100% going to get booked at some point.
Yeah, I mean, Craig Dawson, I think he's a good defender. 6'4", he is a good defender on his day. And he got clumsy last season, didn't he, against Joe Linton? Got two bookings and stuff. So, I mean, that made it a lot easier. Made it easier for us in that game. But we nearly lost the game as well. We scored a 2-goal lead that day. But Joe Linton saved the day. And for you, good news for you, he's not going to be playing tomorrow. He signed for us, but not on time to play against you on Sunday.
Last year's game, John, was unreal. Like I even said to you, I think I'd done a preview with you before that game.
Yes,
and I turned around and said, Newcastle's just a place we just don't go there and win. Like it's just one of them places where if I wasn't a West Ham fan, I'd back West Ham to lose at Newcastle every single time because we just don't win there. And last year's performance, especially in the first 30 minutes, was horrendous. And you deserved to be 2-0 up, and you could have easily been 4-0 up. You played really well in that half. The second half of that game, I don't know what happened to Newcastle, but I don't know whether they thought they'd already done the job or what, because it was like they just sat back and just let us come on to them. And even though we were down to 10 men, I thought we played really well. And we got back to 2-2. And obviously, I think in the end, we just ran out of steam because we was trying so hard. And he's obviously nicked the winner. And on the balance of play, he's probably deserved it last season. But it was just one of them ones. If Craig Dawson don't get sent off and we can get to half time 0-0, it's a different game, I would have felt.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you just mentioned there about when we went 2-1, we just sat back. Steve Bruce always does that. We go goal up, we just sit back to get punished. Even if we go 2, I don't feel comfortable with 2 up under Steve Bruce. I really don't, James, because at the end, I just don't trust him as a manager, sort of thing. He is a defensive manager. We got a team that conceded 62 goals last season. You've got the same back three win backs in tomorrow's game. Midfield, right? You've got the same midfield from last season playing tomorrow, and up front, the same forward line playing tomorrow. We have not improved at all whatsoever. And I'm telling the people as well, I'm not being negative, right? I'm just speaking facts. That team are not good enough. And I still think, for me, this has got to be one of the worst Newcastle teams I've ever seen for a long, long time. But 2 wins last season in 21, counting as well, 2 wins in 21. I will say now, Steve Bruce cannot get away with it, what he got away with last season, because the fans are back, right? Yeah. He needs to tell us, right, and show us what's our style of play. I still do not know what our style of play is. I really, really don't. He doesn't do tactics. He doesn't give us a style of play. All we do is just hoop the ball up all the time. And also, when we get the ball at ASM, right, they expect him to do magic all the time. That's our one-trick pony at the club. Without him and Wilson, right, we're going to be absolutely knackered as well for Newcastle, do you know what I mean? But we had a pre-season friendly. He's always played a back five, always. He's never changed one thing. And he hasn't offered us anything different at all whatsoever. He's not played 4-2-3-1. He's not played 4-3-3, or he's not played a 3-4-3 or 4-4-2. It's always got to be a 5-3-2. And I want to see changes and improvement this season because Steve Bruce is in big trouble.
I agree, mate. I think he proved it last season. Like when you went 2-0 up. If that was Newcastle of old, we'd have lost that game 4-0 easily. Quite comfy, in my opinion. And I agree. I don't think I've always said that. I think Steve Bruce doesn't get a job in the Premier League other than Newcastle. Like when I look at him, he won't get employed in another club. And it's like I think Newcastle needs to be aiming a bit higher than Steve Bruce as a manager. And I think I agree with you. Fans coming back is a major difference now because people are going to hear how people feel. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like seeing it on social media, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? So it is a major thing having the fans back this season for sure.
Yeah, that's the main thing. He has to go up for keyboard warrior, Steve Bruce. He's telling our fans to be patient. He's telling our fans, stop being negative. Telling our fans basically to shut up and enjoy the game. But I tell you something now, he knows now that Steve Bruce now knows he's got to get it on there. If he doesn't hit it off, if you get a poor start, he is going to be in for it. And Mike Ashley was still not doing anything about it. And you not sack Steve Bruce. He does want to do that, but well, it all depends on 3 people. That's Willock, Wilson, possibly ASM to agree, and Graham Jones, one of our coaches. Yeah, and if we don't hit a good start, the squad we are going to be in big trouble. We let the fans, the players know about it, and Steve Bruce. But I'm very, very worried going into the season. Do I feel confident going into the new season? Everyone's going to say now we've got Willock back. That's not enough. We still haven't fixed the defence up. We still really haven't fixed up front. We need a backup striker for Callum Wilson as well. Dwight Gale, championship player. Joe Linton, not good enough. I'm sorry, but I'm going to upset a few Joe Linton fans. He is not good enough. He's never scored double figures in his career in football, yeah. And Andy Carroll's gone. Thank God for that. I mean, I do like Andy Carroll, but what has he done for us? He hasn't done that for us at all, but we definitely need to do something about it very quickly.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree with you. Like, it's hard for me to relate to Newcastle because obviously I don't follow Newcastle, but it's when you've got players there who just ain't good enough. Like, I wouldn't say West Ham have got players there who just ain't good enough, but I'd like to see a bit more squad depth. And that's the only thing. Like with Newcastle, you've got the multiple strikers. We haven't even got one. Like Antonio's a winger, been converted to a striker. We've got one left back at the club who can defend, and the other one who can't. I just can't work it out with managers and things like and people say you can't go and get the players. It's about 1 billion footballers on the planet. Do you know what I mean? Like if you can't go and find a left back, somewhere, there's something wrong. But I totally can relate, John. Totally, mate.
Brilliant. I've got some comments here from Peter. Afternoon, gents. Hope you're well. Even West Ham, like women's training facilities are bad. Yeah. I don't know about that. You just mentioned that. So that's not great. And then I've got Jason as well. Hope you're okay. Yeah, we're fine. And I've got Jason, good. Just chatting to other people, like normally do. Have a weird feeling we'll do okay this season. Got feeling. Shows I hope you are right. And I've got Watford leading Villa by 3 goals to 0. And Villa's just scored, by the way, so it makes it 3-1. So, yeah, but it is what it is. And Everton are losing as well against Southampton. So, you go in your first games anyway. And if you don't win your first game, then you got to fix up very, very quickly. Like, I've got my team for tomorrow, and there's my match prediction as well. I'm going to see it. Freddie Woodman's going to make his first Premiership debut. He's on loan at Swansea, couple of seasons, so he'll be in goal. And then the 3 at the back is going to be Lascelles, Fernandez, and Cher, the Swiss international, Swiss captain. Well, is it Swiss captain? No, Xhaka's Swiss captain, by the way. And then I've got a feeling Kraft's going to, right wing back's going to be Murphy, left wing back's going to be Ritchie. The midfield's going to worry us a little bit. Hearden, Shelby, and Sean Longstaff for me. And the up top is going to be ASM dropping off Callum Wilson. And that's going to be my team for tomorrow, sort of thing. ASM is going to be key for us. I mean, if he gets the ball, he does his stuff, runs at your defence, and then makes it happen, we've got a good chance. And Callum Wilson, I think he's back from an injury, sort of thing, a injury, sort of thing. We need 38 games in Callum Wilson, not 20. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we will be in trouble. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game. I really think it's going to be a tough game. I'll be quite happy at a point from the stage.
Yeah, I agree, John. That's what I've gone for, mate. Gone for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a tight game. It might be even 2-2. There's always goals in this game. Last few times we've played it, there's been goals. I've got no faith in us winning up there against you lot. Just every time we play you, we just don't win. So I'm not going to say we're going to lose, but so that's why I've gone with the draw. I think the draw is. I think we'll go up there. It'll be a tight affair. There'll be goals in it, but I think both teams will cancel each other out, and it'll end up being like a 1 or 2 or something like that. You know what I mean? That's what I've gone with.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nervy game sort of thing. I think we got goals in us, but I'm going to go for myself as well. I'm not going to lie, because at the end of the day, I just don't think both squads sort of thing. If anything's going to win, I think it's going to be used anyway. I mean, I think West Ham will be well up for it. In my opinion, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's Newcastle. We're missing Willock, but take Willock away from mid.
I think it's an hard one with me, John, with West Ham. Because this pre-season we've done very well, but I've seen us. We played you last season, first game of the season at London Stadium, and you just outplayed us, and we was awful. Honestly, yeah, I could see us going up there and giving you a good game, but I just like history don't lie, basically. And the way I look at it is when we do go to these places, like Newcastle being one of them, like we just don't win. It's just very rare we win up there. I think we've won once in there in the last sort of 7-8 years, and to me, that speaks volumes. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be it'd be a good game. I'm looking forward to seeing Ben Rama for us, obviously, because he's a sort of player that will open up defences. He's going to get a new lease of life now with Lingard not being there. So yeah, it'd be a good game. It'll be an entertaining game, and I do think it'll be a draw in the end, though, mate. I'll be quite shocked if we win, but I wouldn't be surprised if you beat us. So yeah,
let's hope that is the case.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You've got Chelsea 3, Palace 0, Leicester 1, Wolves 0, Burnley 1, Brighton 1, by the way. Everton 2, Southampton 1, Everton scored, and Watford 3, Villa 1. I tell you what, though, I still miss Rafa Benitez, by the way. I really, really do. With his leadership and his organisation at the club, I mean, since he left, sort of thing, the club's in an absolute mess. We're not going to see the 62 goals on the Rafa Benitez for last season. Absolutely no way of that. No chance. And I've got West Ham, really won 6 times against Newcastle since 95. Callum Love scored against West Ham. That's another player. Callum keeps scoring against. You know what I mean? And true, it doesn't look good, but then again, we do have boosts, so we can go tits up photos.
I think if we score first, I think whoever scores first tomorrow has got the best chance of winning the game. And that sounds like a bit of a cliche, but if we score first, we can sit back and hit using the break because we know that you've got to come on to us then. I think the first goal is key tomorrow, and it's when the first goal is scored. If the first goal was scored, say in the second half, in the 70th minute or something, then I could see our team seeing it out. But I don't know. I just got a feeling there'll be a lot of goals in this game. But I think both teams will cancel each other out. You are right about Callum Wilson. He's a menace to us. Always scores against us every single time he plays against us. He's like Lukaku, always scoring against us. So and it's just the record, mate. The record just does it for me. And I'll go on records and I look at it and I just think draw for me all day. But I'm proved wrong.
Well, I mean, end of the day, sort of thing. Like, we'd love to be proved wrong at the end of the day, but yeah, I think it'll be a good game tomorrow, and just so we get entertained, and repeat as well. I've been watching the documentary on the West Ham United women's team. Do you think that Jack Sullivan is good for the club? Jack Sullivan? Yeah,
Jack Sullivan's David Sullivan's son. And I'm sorry, but anyone with Sullivan after their name is no good for us, I'm afraid. He's a young lad. I'll give him his due. He's a young lad. He used to be very vocal on Twitter and social media about West Ham's transfer business and like relaying who we're going after and things like that. Honestly, I just want him out, mate. I just want David Sullivan and all them just to pack it up and say, you know what, we've done our time. Time to move on somewhere else. And to Peter's question, he's not good for our club, mate, really. He's a young lad, as I say, but the problem is with it, the fear I do have is he hands it down to him. That's the one fear I have, because as David Sullivan's getting older, I think he's in his 70s now, he could hand it straight down to him and he could run it for the next 30, 40, 50 years even, like forever long he's lived. He's only 20, I think, the lad. So, wow. Yeah, he's not, it's not, I want him gone, Peter. That's your answer to your question.
So questions firing in sort of thing. If you hit the like button and subscribe, you already knew. And like I say, got any questions from James, just fire them in and you do his best to answer them. And yeah, I mean, I watched the game last week between Brentford and Arsenal, just off the topic sort of thing. How good were Brentford?
Brentford are a good team, mate. I've got a Brentford mate who's Like he was very nervous about yesterday. But what it is with Brentford, they've got a very good scouting network, John. They sign their players from lower leagues. Even an ex-Newcastle player, Ivan Toney, like he's look how he's progressed. He went to Peterborough, then he went to Brentford, and look at him there. He's a phenomenal player. And we was linked with him before Brentford come up, and we wanted that man to replace Antonio. And now Brentford coming up, it's sort of like there's no chance of that happening now. So basically, Brentford will stay in the league. I'm pretty certain of it. I think they're a well-organised team. They've got a good manager. They've got a great scouting network. And what they do is they do it on like analysis and stats, like everything from every little detail down to passing, fitness, how long someone can last in a game, everything. And I think Brentford are a very good team, and I can see Brentford staying up pretty comfortable this year.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they've finished above us. Let's put it that way. When I watched them yesterday, I think, wow, if they're going to stay up, that doesn't sound good for us anyway. Let's be real about it. I mean, Thomas Frank, after the final, he comes out and he goes and claps to the full stats of the fans. That is a proper manager right there. You got to interact with the fans. You got to clap to the fans as well. Steve Bruce doesn't do that at all whatsoever, sort of thing. You know, he's so busy having his hands in his pockets, sort of thing, all the time, and he just doesn't care about the fans. And end of the day, what a brilliant manager this guy is, sort of thing. And even if Brentford didn't go up, sort of thing, I don't think we would have let him go anywhere. Even if he wanted to go Brentford, and not let him go at all whatsoever. But yeah, Brentford will stay up. Also, Arsenal, where did it go from here? Is he under pressure?
I think Arsenal are in trouble, John. I think, if I'm honest, what it is, Arsenal are a very big club, and the problem is where they're such a very big club, they're so far behind. They're competing for Europa League now. And when I keep using Leicester as an example, Leicester are a well-run, well-organised club. Arsenal have gone out and bought a defender for £50 million when they need a lot more than just a defender. And they're getting linked with Ramsdale, and they sold Martinez to Villa. And it just doesn't. I don't understand it. Do I think Arsenal and Arteta's in? I think Arteta will be sacked for too long. Because now the fans are back, they won't tolerate it there. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of them ones now. Like, what do? Do you stick with a man and give him? How much time do you give someone? And Arsenal are classed as a big club, like as in they should be competing for top four and all that. But they're miles away, mate. They're on the same par as West Ham at the minute, in my opinion. Like they're no different to us. The only difference is with us is they've got an owner who will drop an occasional £50 million or something. Do you know what I mean? Whereas our owner won't even drop 50 quid. So, yeah.
I have to agree. I mean, Arsenal are a club in disarray at the minute. They really are. I mean, you got Lacazette. He does try. He's got way left on his contract. You got Aubameyang. Doesn't really want to be there, sort of thing. He only signed for the money, sort of thing. I mean, his attitude is so wrong. Then you got Xhaka. Should have gone to Roma. I thought Xhaka would have gone to Roma anyway, but he decided to sign a new 4-year deal. And then it's gone back to the old Xhaka, what I saw yesterday. So you are right. I mean, I think Arsenal in huge trouble, just like us. But the thing is, all these pundits, like, come on, right, on sport, right, and everyone's saying that Arteta's got to do this, got to do that, it's under pressure. So they're kicking him down, right? But they will not kick Steve Bruce down. All these pundits, like Jamie O'Hara, Robbie Savage, I love Alan Brazil, but he's one of them as well now, sort of thing. Like, they got all these pundits, Trevor Sinclair, Simon Jordan, saying that Steve Bruce has done a wonderful job. And really, what, 1 win, 2 wins in 21, and they still bigging up Steve Bruce up. Are they doing this to Newcastle fans up, or it's because they just don't want to have a takeover?
No idea, mate. But I know saying what you just said there about Jamie O'Hara, I can totally relate to you. Because he likes to bring up West Ham on an occasion, and he's telling us that he reckons we might go down this year. Like, which I was like, you can tell he's Tottenham fan, do you know what I mean? So yeah, he's a lot of them are no good. Like, I understand it with the Steve Bruce thing with you boys, I really do, because as I said to you earlier, mate, like when I look at Steve Bruce, I don't see him in another Premier League club. Like, and I look at Newcastle as a big club, and if Newcastle, for instance, went out and said, right, we're going to go and appoint Frank Lampard, for instance, just as an example, that's younger, fresher, with a new approach. And I just look at Steve Bruce and I think he's a Championship manager. He's not a Premier League manager, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? And that's from an outsider looking in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, Matt actually does want to point on young managers sort of thing because he wants to appoint all the managers like Mark Hughes, Tony Pulis, and rather point them instead because they wouldn't take on Ashley set lad. You know what I mean? It's just you know what? I'm managing Newcastle. I've also managed a big club, and Newcastle is a special club. But they find out themselves what it's like working with like Ashley sort of thing. But if they're not sure, have a word with Rafa Benitez sort of thing. I mean, Bobby Robson, right? God rest his soul, would have been spinning today with what's going on in our club. Spinning. Kevin Keegan must be as home, must be thinking, this club is just getting worse and worse and worse. And actually, Rafa Benitez loves Newcastle United. Yeah, he'll come back. We'll get a takeover, and I can guarantee one thing: he's going to come back. And I've got Jason here again, Sullivan or Ashley.
Jason, you're putting me in it now, mate. Neither. Neither. I'm gonna go. I'll go. You know what? I'll have none of them. I'll have the fans run it instead. Do you know what I mean?
Good answer. Good answer. I got DQ. Robbie Savage came out as bisexual live on BT Sports. Wow. I didn't see that one. And Brighton's taking the lead. They're 2-1 up. And that explains some of his runs, DQ. Everton are 3-1 up. And Jules, let me boost out. League gunner you're not, but hey, what can I say? But all I can say is sort of thing, right? I mean, it's going to be an interesting season as well for Newcastle and West Ham for that matter, sort of thing, It's good to see fans back, eh?
Yeah, amazing, Joe. It's do you know what? This is what football owners and fans have got. Football clubs have got to start seeing, though. Right, the fans are the ones that keep the football club going, and it's so good to see fans cheering when there's a goal going in instead of sitting at home and do you know what I mean, and sitting on the telly. I just feel it's going to go slow at the start. The fans I will come back in the end. I think certain capacities and certain grounds will not fill out straight away because people are still apprehensive about COVID. But then over a period of time, I think it will start to come back, and that we've seen it today with the Man United Leeds game, how much it means to the fans. So yeah, it is amazing to have the fans back, mate. They've been truly missed.
100%. I was going to go on tomorrow, but I won't be able to go now because I kind of get Monday off. But I'm going to try and go up in 2 weeks' time for the Southampton game, and we need to beat Southampton. No ifs, no buts. And you're right. It's good to see fans back in stadiums, and it's not the same, in my opinion. And, it's just weird to have that feeling back, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah.
I got Chris Wilder do a better job for us than Bruce, 100%. I'll probably question Joe Linton is Newcastle's best player. Roy Hodgson just isn't using nice and right. Wow. Joe Linton. How do you from outside in? How do you rate Joe Linton?
He's not a good player, mate. In my opinion, I think Newcastle bought him expecting him to be the next big thing, like big Brazilian, right? And I think they just got a bit stung on it. You know what I mean? When I look at him, he's a big unit, but he misses so many chances. Obviously, I don't watch every single Newcastle game, but every time I've seen him, he does miss loads of chances. And like when you're that vocal point in the attack, and when I look at Saint-Maximin, for instance, he don't miss. Like he's clinical when he's in that area. He might miss one, but he makes sure he puts the other one away. And I think Newcastle look a completely different team when he's not in that team, Saint-Maximin. And when I look at Joe Linton, I think if you was to have him in the team, excuse me, you wouldn't benefit from it. But I think when he's out of the team, I think Newcastle are much more of a threat going forward, and they're more on their toes more, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I have to agree there, sort of thing, 100%. And I mean, I never heard of the guy when he came in. I think he brought him in just to hack off Rafa Benitez, basically saying it just goes to show we can spend big money when there needs to be, sort of thing. But he's done that, put two things up at Rafa, and he scored 6 goals in 69 games. Joe Willock scored 7 goals in 13 games. Yeah, look at the facts. That is facts. And then I'll get him on social media having a go at us. I mean, I don't know what anyone's saying. People can have a go at us as much as they want, yeah. But Joe Linton is not good enough for Newcastle United, yeah. I've given them a chance, right? Okay. People are saying there's a player in there. I'm still waiting for that player in there. And people are saying that he has improved. It has improved slightly, yeah. But it hasn't done enough for me, sort of thing. I had to block 2 people yesterday on social media the other day because I was abusing him. No, I wasn't abusing him. I'm just saying that he's not good enough. And the same 2 I blocked had a right go at Malcolm McDonald, that used to play for Newcastle United. And he scored, 95 goals in 187 appearances. And those young Newcastle fans and our fan base can be a bit rife at times. And they're saying that Malcolm McDonald is an absolute dinosaur. Malcolm McDonald is yesterday's man. Yeah, really? He knows what he's talking about, and he talks about football. Yeah, you don't ever. I mean, your legends of West Ham, Billy Barnes and Frank McAvenny and Alan Devon, Trevor Booking, sort of thing. We don't forget them because of what they've done for West Ham United. And as fans, you should know. But the fact is, sort of thing, I think our fans need to do the research, especially younger generation, do the research, get their families to tell them what that players all about, like Malcolm McDonald, John Tudor, and we had Gaza, Waddle, Beasley, sort of thing, and Kilcline.
Newcastle have had some great players. Newcastle have had some great players come through their academy, and they've had some great players play for the shirt. Do you know what I mean? I think what it is, John. I think a lot of the younger generation, because I've seen it with West Ham fans. A lot of fans Saeed Benrahma, who I've mentioned to you, last season got absolute stick. We signed him from Brentford, really good player, very, very good on the ball, like a little wizard, right? And a lot of fans were like, on my case, and I had the same sort of thing. I had people saying to me, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. He's rubbish. He's no good. He's not good enough to wear the shirt," and things like that. And now I see it this season that everyone's saying that he's the best thing since sliced bread, and I think to myself, what it is, a lot of younger fans look at it. They look at Man City. They look at Liverpool. They look at Man United. They buy the top players, and they think our clubs can go and attract them players, get them in there. And they're going to be like us. And I just don't understand it really. They've got to look at where we are as a club and the players that we are attracting. And you know what fans are like, John. They are too easy to chuck players out the door so quick when they're not performing. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there comes a time where you hold your hands up and you say, you know what, enough's enough now. We've had, for instance, I use Joe Linton for example. You've had him for say 3-4 years or whatever, and he's just not cutting it. Do you know what I mean? But after 6 months, when I was having the stuff with Benrahma, I had people saying they want him sold this summer, and I was like, unbelievable,
Jeff.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Unbelievable, Jeff. But you're right. But they need to wake up now and stop not having to go at legends sort of thing, and just do their research, and then they might learn a thing or two. Because I did. You know what I mean? I was born in '69, and Malcolm McDonald scored a hat-trick for Newcastle. I was only 2-year-old at the time. But you know what I mean? But he's still a legend. His name's going to go on and on and on. And it's 52 years since I've been born. And you're going to remember Malcolm McDonald. In 58 times, you remember players like Joe Linton. There's absolutely no way. And John Shelby plays man as well. But you was after him as well. If you want him, mate, I'll just give him away on it, mate. He might be out eat for you.
We kept getting linked with him every window because he's from down this way. He's local to the area, and for me, he just doesn't fit our system. Sometimes I look at John Joe Shelby from an outsider when he's at Newcastle and he goes missing. He just starts putting tackles in. He's always getting booked. And then he might do one good game where he turns into like the John Joe Shelby of old, but he's just not consistent enough, in my opinion.
No, he's lazy, absolutely lazy. When the going gets tough, he doesn't look interested, and he does these Hollywood balls. I mean, once out of 10 times it comes off. Other times he's just so lazy, and I don't know what Steve Bruce gets in him. I really don't. Rafa Benitez tried to get him out the door for many years since he's been there, right? And Joe just said, you know what? There's 80,000 reasons why I don't want to leave the club. It's 80 grand a week, and you're not going anywhere else. Oh, Peter, I've got here as well. Does the Intercity crew still exist?
Yeah, the Intercity firm, the ICF, they still go strong. They all follow. they're very passionate West Ham fans. A lot of them won't go to the new ground though. That's the only thing. A lot of them have been a lot of them are sort of people who are totally against the board, and they're going on protests and marches to try and get the board out. Do you know what I mean? And but Peter, they're still going strong, mate.
Fair enough. And I've got Jason as well again. Going to feel so good hearing the right chants and the fans who run the teams on instead of the stupid FIFA sound effects we had all last season. Yeah. And he's a Londoner as well, by the way. I got DQ. Opinions on Diogo Jota from Liverpool outside view? I think he's a damn good player, me.
I think he needs more game time, mate. And I think there's players there who, obviously, you got the front three of Liverpool. And the problem is that front three, they've been very successful front three for many years. But a lot of Liverpool fans who I've spoke to, Firmino's the weak link out of a lot of them. I think they should go with like 3 mobile strikers. And with Firmino, he holds the ball up well and he does a lot of stuff off the ball, which is very, very good. But he don't score enough goals. And if Salah don't score and Mane don't score, then Liverpool don't score many goals. Like they don't score goals from midfield, for instance. So yeah, Jota, very good player, mate. Very, very good, but needs to play more, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a brilliant player, him, man. But Firmino's just on a long-term contract. I can't see him even anytime soon. I like Firmino. I really do like Firmino. He does score enough, but I do like him. And he's absolutely key for Liverpool front line. I do like him. And I got Steve Bruce thinks Almiron is handsome. That's why Almiron still plays. I like Almiron, but he plays on the wrong position. He should be a number 10. That's his best position. He came to Newcastle as a 10. Steve Bruce has absolutely messed up his career. That is why there's no reason why he can play a 4-2-3-1 with me as a 10, ASM alongside Murphy as well alongside them, and our player Hayden and Willock in the holding role. Excuses there. And Steve is his defensive manager. He needs to change it up. And he hasn't changed it up. He's going to continue playing the same formation, which cost us 62 goals last season. And he will never, ever learn. He is stuck in the time warp. He's just stuck in a rut. And Chelsea won by 3-0. I've got Jay again. Speaking of Shelby, he's actually a West Ham fan, but he wants to end his career with Charlton Athletic. Well, do you know what? I'll drive in there myself. Let's be real. Forget the train fare. The cab fare. You know what I mean? And then I got John Shelby, looks like Johnny Sins.
Yeah. He plays like Johnny Sims and all.
Oh, no. He looks like Dr. Spock anyway. He'd be better off going in Star Trek. Do you know what I mean? That'd be his career. Change his occupation and let him go back to Star Wars and Dr. Spock. He'd be a good actor there, let me tell you. You know?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. He's with old Shelby. He plays one good game and he just goes missing for a hell of a lot. I think I will say one thing about Newcastle before you come towards the end. I think Joe Willock's a great signing for you boys. I think you capturing him on like a permanent for 6-year deal. I think it is. I think he's absolutely a steal. Like you've got a good young player there who's only going to get better. And he's been trained by Arsenal, Arsenal letting some of their youngsters go, which makes no sense either. But yeah, I think Williams a great signing for you. I really do.
I think he's absolutely decent. He's young. I don't really want to say this, but he's English as well. And let's be real about it. I think he's a decent young player for me, sort of thing. And what I want to know is I done the press conference reaction yesterday, and they have missed a trick. The jewelers has missed a big trick yesterday. She should have asked Steve Bruce and asked him, is there a release clause in that contract? And if there is, you need to know. We are allowed to know. And I'm afraid to say they don't tell us anything in Newcastle. They really don't. And that's the frustrating thing. We need to know that release clause in their contracts. And that never came. But I think it has to now. But it looks like Daddy Ings has got his first goal of this. See, John Shelby makes, mate. Thanks very much for that. Watford 3 Villa 2. Ings got one back. Not a good start for Villa, by the way. If the result scores that way, they spent a lot of money.
Yeah. And with a lot of money, John, comes a lot of pressure. And that's the problem. Like you can go and spend a lot of money. Yeah, I just think, you know what it is? It's Watford, isn't it? It's the newly promoted teams. Brentford last night, Watford today. When when these newly promoted teams come up, their first game's like a party because they're in the league. So yeah, Villa have got if Villa do end up losing that game, it's a poor result for them.
And well, they lost the game and they can score goals, but what they know exactly what they need to do is turn that defence. We got them next week, sort of thing. So Villa, that'll be a tough game. And I reckon that Villa late has not been brilliant. I've been to Villa a couple of times in Newcastle, and I think I've been there 4 times and only lost once. But yeah, so unfortunately, there'll be another defeat next Saturday. I can guarantee I'll be doing a watch along for that game next week, sort of thing. So that'll be fun again. So there you go. Just 3 quick questions as well. I mean, what would you like to see happen at West Ham? The 3 things do you like to see happen at West Ham this season?
I want to see some players come in the door, John. Like I want to see some ambition. Like we're in Europa League and all, and we can't go along with the players that we've got. We've got a good 11, right? Yeah. Maybe a good 11, 12 players, maybe. But then after that, the squad's very different. I want to see that. I want us to try and progress this year. If do you know what I mean? We finished 6th last year. I'm not saying we're going to finish 6th this year, but if we can get into that top 10 bracket this year, I'll be over the moon. Like, I would be, especially with Europa League. And finally, I'd like to see a good cup run and all. Like West Ham haven't won a trophy or haven't won haven't won a cup since 1980, and that'd be like 42 years in May. And that's, to me, that's not good. Like I want to see a bit more than that. Since then, we've only had 1 cup final, and that was in 2006. So, yeah, like I say, I'd like to see a bit of movement towards the end of the transfer window. I hope there is, but I'm not certain, mate. Not certain.
Yeah, fair enough. For me, the 3 things I want to see happen, I'm going to read this out as well. Norwich, missed that one. Norwich have Liverpool, won't be a party for them. Full-time effort now. Everton 1, Brighton 1, and the team's usual suspects. Actually, well, he's going to stall the season. And Jay said you could have Jeff Hendrick if you like free of charge on a Phoebe. Would you take Jeff on a Phoebe? Midfield?
Yeah, I have anyone, mate. If he's a body, we're having. Trust me.
He's a body. You never know, might do all right. You never know. I mean, he's David Moyes' kind of player, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Not for Steve Booth, not for me. And do you think Jack Grealish is worth 100 million?
Not for me, mate. He's not worth 100 million. I think he's a good player, Jack Grealish. Don't get me wrong, and he's a talented boy. Excuse me. But a lot of games last season, he done well in, but then some games he went missing. And I think if you mark him out of the game, then like last season with Villa, you take Grealish out, you stop Villa basically. I think Villa have got the better end of the deal, in my opinion. I know they're losing today, but they've signed a striker that will get them between 10 to 15 goals this season in innings. Leon Bailey's a talent, and Buendia. So 100 million for Grealish, I would say about 80 at best. Like, and that's pushing it. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. I totally agree for me. I mean, Everton had a player sent off. He got booked twice, one of them for diving, and then the second one he took his shirt off, celebrating, sort of thing. Where I don't know who it is, but he must know better, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? You know you're going to get booked for it as well. So you're right. I understand what you mean. But for me, Jack Grealish ain't worth the money. I think he's probably 70 million tops. That's it for me, because he hasn't won anything. That means I watch a lot of Serie A football. Chiesa, he's got to be worth at least 100 million now, like sort of, and he's a European winner as well. And for me, I think he's decent. And like I tell you, if he's probably double his wage price now, sort of thing, like, you know. But the 3 things I want to see from us this season, Newcastle, is A, change things up in the tactics, yeah. B, I want us to have a go at teams, right? Whoever we're playing against, have a go at them. Even if we lose, have a go at them, yeah, and allow the players to express themselves. We've got good attacking players there, and Steve Bruce is trying to kill the career sort of things while we're playing defensive. You cannot allow players like Murphy, ASM, Callum Wilson, right, and Miguel Almiron to chase back, trap back all the time. Because by the time they do that, when they go forward, they're going to end up being knackered. Do you know what I mean? I don't want that happening, whatsoever. And see, the most important thing is communication from the club. That's the number one priority. Communication from the club. None of the silly brief statements sort of thing, right? I want to see communication. I want to see Lee Chandley, our chief executive, right, come out and actually speak to the fans, talk on Sky Sports, do an interview. Do you know what I mean? Just talk to us. Just tell us what's going to happen to our club. And Mike Cash can do the same as well. Do you know what I mean? But they're not going to do it, though, because they're just so happy being away from the spotlight. Do you know what I mean? And for me, we pay our season tickets. That, for me, ain't good enough, ain't acceptable.
I agree, mate. I agree.
Yeah, and I'm sure Gordon Sullivan come out as well, sort of thing, come out and talk to people. So I heard him on Talk Sport as well, sort of thing, chatting as well quite a few times. Well on to them.
I talk a good game, mate. I must admit, our owners, but they don't back it up.
No.
I think what it is, John, with this one, especially with ours, is that they go on Talk Sport and they've got the person who's the director, I think it is, of the Talk Sport. He's a West Ham fan, and he gets them on. And I can't understand that with Talk Sport. I really can't. Like, you know full well you're going to get them on. You're going to say something. It's going to rile us all up to say, like, well, what's going on? And I think what it is, they don't do themselves no favours, if I'm honest. Like, if they was to come out and go and spend, I'm not saying spend 50, 60 million pounds on a striker or anything like that. Yeah. If they was to go out and get 4 or 5 players at like 10, 15 million each or whatever, and they was decent players, we would be like, you know what, fair play to them. At least they've done that. But they give us a reason to moan. It's not like we moan for the sake of moaning. They give us a reason to be irate, and I just look at them and I just think, you know what, they use TalkSport as a platform, and I agree with what you said there about in regards of like tactics and things. Like, one thing I will say with Moyes, he has got us playing a better style of football. Like, it's more on the ground, free flowing. We're like an counter attacking team, really. So yeah, like, at least Moyes has got that sort of sewn up and done right, but our owners haven't.
No, and I'll tell you what as well, I think Davy Moyes as well understands the West Ham fans of the football they want to play, and that's the West Ham, and playing on the floor, attacking football sort of thing, give you fans exactly what you want. Steve Bruce has come in, right? He came into us and he said that he's going to give us fans what we want. He's gonna play football. He's going to give us the style of football that Newcastle's going to enjoy. As a Newcastle fan, I don't think he's a Newcastle fan. He's a Man United fan, 100%, because he's a red all the way. For me, just give us exactly what you want. He ought to know this sort of thing for the years of Kevin Keegan, Bob Robson, Rafa Benitez. Just come out and just give us a style of football, what we deserve. Do you know what I mean? Not playing hoofball all the we had the least shots on target last season, the least possessions as well. We just sit back. We just don't press. We just stand off them as well. And that's where our goals has come from, because we just knew not to press them at all whatsoever. And that worries us this season. He needs to change that up very, very quickly. If he doesn't, he's going to get found out very, very quickly. He can't get away with it this time. He cannot. And believe you me, it's going to be hell on if he doesn't listen to us.
We will see.
We'll see. Just comes up very, very quickly, right? I know you've got to crack on. Grealish likes to dive and roll a boot a lot, so you can expect City to have plenty of free kicks and penalties. Hi, lads, and hi to you, Ryan. Oh, you can. No way, 100 million. 50 million max for Jackie Grealish. But you're right. You agree with that one?
Yeah. 50 mil?
Yeah.
No. I'd say around the ballpark that you said, John, 70 to 80. I think he's worth it. He's only 24, I think. So he's got to get better. You know what I mean? But he's definitely not 100 million. Like, when you look at 100 million pound players, like, you look at world class players. Is Jack Grealish world class? Not for me. He's top class, but he's not world class. So yeah.
Wow. No, fair enough. And just a quick one, I've got Lily. She's a Leicester fan as well, bless. Thoughts on Watford today? They won by 3-2. I've got them down as relegated this season. But every time I say that, when they played the first game, they won. They win by 3-2.
Great result. That's a great result for them. I agree with you, John. I think Watford might go down this year. Right, I think it's a great result for them. But the team that I've sort of gone for to go down this year is Burnley. I think Burnley will struggle this year. The lack of investment. And I know Dyche is a good manager and he gets the best out of them, but you can't keep relying on him doing his best every year in, year out. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's a great result for Watford and against a team that everyone expects to get into Europe this year.
Yeah. Well done to Watford. Big up to Watford and commiserations to Villa, but you're right. But they have shots us today, and it's still got Sarr as well, and he's a brilliant winger sort of thing. Big lad, quick, and he's a brilliant winger. We're going to have problems against Watford as well. And I've got Ryan from Canada. John, would you sell Darlow? Also, Southampton need a keeper, in my opinion, and we should sell him, and he's has the value right now. For me, I think Carl Darlow, as much as I like him, I think he may as well just score and get some money and go out there and get a creativity midfielder and a backup striker without a shadow of doubts. But yeah, I would definitely, excuse me, now, happy with the backer, happy with Benny Woodman. I think Darlow's been a cracking keeper sort of thing over the years, but for me now, I just cannot see him get back in the first team. And I hope we wish him a speedy recovery from COVID. And yeah, for me, I'll get rid. And Leicester won the day. I knew you'd be happy, Lily. Ryan, give us Gillespie, Dark and Steer. And we've got Lily as well. Fulham won 5-1 today against Huddersfield. I'm sure Mito is on the goal sheet a day, I think. And yeah, but it's what it is, man. And yeah, so just before I let you go, I'll do a quick prediction as well. Who's going to win the league and who's your bottom three?
I think City win the league, mate. I think they're a well-oiled machine, mate. I haven't got a striker. If they do get Kane, then I think they win the league. I think Chelsea will become second. Yeah. So it's out of them and Chelsea for me. But I just think City are their squad depth is better than Chelsea's, and they've got a better defence than Chelsea's, and I think they will nick games even playing bad. So yeah, for them to win the league, to go down, this is an hard one with me though, John, because I don't see Newcastle struggling like going down. Like I think Burnley go. I think Norwich will go. Yeah, Norwich will go down. And the team that I'm going to say that I think will struggle this year is Leeds. And people will say to me, I don't know, James, about Leeds. Second season in the Premier League, they can't go out and do what they keep done last year and keep trying to blow teams away in attacking sense. I think teams will figure them out and will set up solid and hit them on the break. And I think Leeds might struggle. If it ain't them, I think Southampton. I think Southampton letting go of Ings is to just let go of their goal scorer. And when you do that, I think goals will be hard to come by. So for me, I'm going to say Norwich, Burnley, and I'm going to say Southampton. But I think Leeds will struggle this year, big time.
Yeah, I mean, they got beat 5-1 today, didn't they? It's not a good start for them at all whatsoever. No. Excuse me, sorry. But I think Leeds will be fine this season. I really do. I think for me, they'll win the FA Cup this season, Leeds. And I think they'll find a way of doing that. For me, to win the league, it'll be Chelsea. That's because they've got Lukaku. They're nearly number 9, a world-class number 9 striker. For me, I think Man City will start slowly. If they start slowly and Chelsea run away with it, I think Chelsea will be hard to catch this time. But for me, Chelsea, Man City, Man U, Leicester, that's the top 4. Chelsea be champions. The bottom 3 for me would be, unfortunately, Norwich. And I'm going to say Southampton and Watford. Those are my 3's going to get relegated. I think Newcastle just get away with it. I think Burnley will stop the skin of their teeth. I mean, over a lot of people say Burnley's going to struggle this season. And the reason for that, because like you just said there, they haven't been spending that much money sort of thing. You only got Hennessy, the goalkeeper sort of thing. And with Sean Dyche, he's got faith in the team that he's got. And they're 90 million in debt because it's just had a takeover. And, yeah, it's just one of those things. And I think Burnley will struggle. But I think they're just about stop up. And yes, Sean Dyche will be good for Newcastle United. For me, I say yes. He won't take any prisoners at the club. I mean, he's not a yes man, by the way. And if he does come to Newcastle anytime soon, like Ashley Newton has got to back this manager. They've got to listen to him because I tell you, I like Sean Dyche. If I was Sean, I'd stay at Burnley, mate. I'd stay at Burnley or wait for a better club to come through. Anyone with Burnley would be good for Newcastle Steve Bruce hasn't got one. Best to have a top goalkeeper's number 2, so he won't struggle. And yeah, I have to agree there. Bruce should work as a water boy. He may just get that right job. Yes. Change his occupation, man. And your relegation team changes more times than I have hot meals, John. No, I've always said that Norwich, Watford, and Southampton. Go look at the recent clips. You know what I mean? But yeah, so go wrap it up, my guy, because obviously we've gone over that sort of thing. Done now in 10 minutes. Did you enjoy coming on the show for the second time?
Yes, John, you're a good man, mate. And I hope Newcastle do well this year. Obviously, I don't hope they do well tomorrow, but for the rest of the season, I think you'll be fine, John. From a West Ham point of view, I think you'll be fine. I think you've got the fan base back there now. It all depends how you start. Obviously, the first 5 games, so to speak. If you start off slow, then the fan base ain't going to be happy. And but I think from an outsider's point of view, looking in, I think Newcastle are a big enough club to stay in the league. And I think there's worse teams than Newcastle. And I think Newcastle, if Callum Wilson can score the goals, then I think you stay up quite comfortably, mate. I would say about 14th, 13th, something like that, quite comfortably.
Yeah, let's hope so, sort of thing. Let's hope so, sort of thing. I hope you're correct. And but I've always said in the Premier League sort of thing. But what I want as well is a takeover to boot as well. If you get a takeover, then I'll be over that flipping moon. Let's be real. I've got West Ham to stay up the season as well, comfortably as well. You'll be top 10, no question about that for me. And like I said, sort of thing, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to do the live watch along tomorrow, but at the same time, I'm going to do the phone in as well after the watch along. So if any fans want to come and have a chat, sort of thing, and get off your chest, please do so. And also, I'm going to do the player ratings probably on a Monday or Tuesday because I'm on the show on Monday night. I'm going to do the post press conference reaction as well. And so I'm quite busy, I'm going to be quite busy tomorrow,
It's all go, John. It's all go, mate.
It's all go. You're right. I mean, Paul saying Newcastle finished top 10. I don't know what you're drinking, Paul, but I love your confidence. Thank you very much indeed for that. Have a good one, John Jason. Thanks, John James. Good show. Thanks a lot for that, Pete. And thanks as well, Jules. I was at 8 either. Let's can bring in some more new players as have the same team as last season. If we can strengthen, I would see a 15th at the best. Yeah, I'll take 15th all day long. But I do want to press on. You know what I mean? We got finished 13th, then 12th. But we should be progressing all the time, every single season. But we're not going to get it under Steve Bruce, not at this football club. If we finish top 10, the likelihood is Steve Bruce is going to get a new contract as well. And that is, well, absolutely cringes, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not on that at all whatsoever, because who's getting a new deal? No, thank you. No, thank you. Listen, James, thanks for coming on, my guy. And it's been a pleasure for you to get a West Ham point of view as well. You're always welcome to come on as well, which is great. And like I said, if you get a chance or if you're not busy, you'll come on a video call tomorrow after the game and have your say on the game. Just give us a shout. I'll get you on, man.
All right, mate. Nice one. Thanks a lot, John. And you take care, mate.
You too. Have a fantastic evening, man.
Take care, mate.
You too.